I'm looking at the National Post, March 24th, 2009, an article by John Ivison, "Not Quite a Pussycat," referring to barred MP, British MP, George Galloway, who he says should not be made a free speech martyr. Just who can be and should be a free speech martyr? Do you have to be perfect to be capable of having free speech, or in the alternative, having the right to be considered a martyr if you're silenced? I don't know too many people who are silenced who aren't controversial, because when you're popular, nobody wants to silence you anyway. So what's wrong with George Galloway? Well, they say, and this is typically Canadian, he's a threat to the security of Canada. I think he's a threat to the security of some people's prejudices and some people's self-important ideas, but to think that a rather pudgy-looking and older British MP could unseat the government of Canada or create social unrest seems to me to be a far-fetched example of the stupidity of political correctness in Canada. This man should be allowed to speak, just as David Irving should have been allowed to speak, but because he's pro-Palestinian, then a lobby group gets together and pressures the government, who has so little backbone and so little concept of principle, that they decide to ban a British MP from speaking in Canada. Has he created threats to the security of the United Kingdom? Has there been some evidence of civil disorder that he instigated in the United Kingdom? I recently read an article that accused him of donating to Hamas, a, quote, terrorist organization, referred to as such by the government of Canada. I looked into this. You know what the donation was? He raised funds and money to assist the people of the Gaza Strip. Oh, I agree, it's probably under the control of Hamas. But if you help the people, does that mean you support the government? If such was the criterion, then the Canadian government supports all kinds of dictatorships around the world when they offer foreign aid. This is so typical of twisting and spinning the news so that it looks like George Galloway donated to Hamas when he raised money for food for the people in the Gaza Strip. If our government, the Canadian government in Ottawa, is so unstable, so ridiculous as to ban a British MP, then how secure is our free speech? How is it that Western Canadians would tolerate a government in Ottawa that decides that we can't hear from a member of Parliament from the United Kingdom? It's time Western Canadians realized that if we rely on Ottawa to protect our freedom, we won't have any. So that's another reason, a good reason, to free the West. There's a new one every day, but this really was a piece of work. Free the West.